camera. Okay, this is part 3. Okay.
So we talked about Garipçe. So from Garipçe, you keep going north and you end up in Rumeli Feneri. Fener in Turkish means lighthouse. So this is another fisherman's village that was built around that lighthouse. It's not big either. Rumeli Feneri is definitely bigger than Garipçe, but I mean, you can see how small this is in this map. It's more obvious. Like, this is the size of that village, and this is the size of Rumeli Feneri. It's bigger. But here there isn't anything commercial really. It's a village, so there are houses, there are a couple places to eat fish, and fish out of Black Sea would be like very small fish. So when you order fish, a portion would come like with many small fish rather than like one big fish. And then it's traditionally served with a lot of like meze kind of food. There will be other kind of seafood. Shrimp is very famous in this little village because they fish their own shrimp. Calamari is very famous there. These are actually two very famous seafood in Turkey, and they make it different than they make it here. But basically, Sarıyer, this is where Sarıyer is. Garipçe and Rumeli Feneri would make at least half a day trip, if not longer. And then depending on, I think, how much more time you want to spend there, you could even go to, I'm thinking of another small village, but
Kallıca.
okay, that's another part, so we'll get there.
Let's see. Kallıca is famous.
Do you have any bright ideas while she's looking?
I know the nightclubs. And actually, I know the very fancy restaurant which name is Sunset.
Found it!
Good. We'll get back to you, Arkan.
So this is another village. So this is now actually south. So this is between Garipçe and Sarıyer. So this is this portion here. Why is it not synced? Okay, yeah. So this is Sarıyer here. And if you do this, come on.
Not moving. Ah.
So Garipçe, Sarıyer. This is another village here called Rumeli Kavağı. That's another place on the Bosphorus. It's again smaller, bigger, and more commercial than these two, more commercial than Garipçe and Rumeli Feneri. This place also has like fish restaurants and places where you can have breakfast.
Oops.
They have little shops where you can buy like fashion jewelry kind of stuff,
Can you spell
scarves
it?
and all that. So it's, if we get closer, we'll see it.
We're waiting for it to sync the TV there. Oh my.
Okay. So Rumeli Kavağı.
Okay.
That's, if you get rid of this SO, that's the name of this.
Oh, that's a great view. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that's our little like northern Bosphorus Black
Geography
Sea
101.
tour.
Yeah.
And then if we stay on the European side, again on the Bosphorus, I would like go and see Arnavutköy.
Oops.
Arnavutköy is also one of the oldest. This is, Sarıyer is more like middle to lower middle class kind of neighborhood in general. I mean, there are some very fancy houses there by the Bosphorus, but most of the people who work there would be middle class or lower middle class. Arnavutköy is a very fancy neighborhood, but I think the charm is, since it was built so many years ago, the streets are so narrow because they were built for carriages. They were never built for people to drive around, yet there is two-way traffic, and it's in those like hills and mountains of Istanbul, so everything is up and down, and you can walk by the Bosphorus, you can walk in those small tiny little streets and see the houses. The architecture is interesting because there is not like any flat surface. You always have to go up and down to get to places, so you see all these houses which look like they were built on mountains, yet it's the middle of one of the largest cities in the world. So it's I find it very unique. I mean, it's a very pretty neighborhood, Arnavutköy. And then, of course, I'm sure you have already been to these two, but Beşiktaş and Beyoğlu. I'm waiting for it to sync again. So Beşiktaş and Beyoğlu. So Taksim is basically where like the college kids go to party and stuff, and Beyoğlu is again one of the older neighborhoods of Istanbul. So this is the old city where we have all those like mosques and churches and stuff. This is still considered old city, but this is the newer part of the old city. So most of these buildings in Beyoğlu, I think the historical ones were built in like 1600s, 1700s, right, Erkan? Unlike here where they were built in like 1500s. So I'm sure you already have been, but I mean, I can't get enough of it, so I would always go back to Beyoğlu. And Beşiktaş also is, today it's one of the like middle to upper middle class neighborhoods in Turkey. So if you go and walk, like if you go further from the Bosphorus into Beşiktaş, you would see how like normal Turkish people live in Istanbul, like houses, very apartment buildings actually, very close to each other. And I mean, you walk like 200 meters on a street and you have a butcher, you have a grocery shop, you have a market, you have a place that sells, I don't know, refrigerators. So it's all in there, like in your very own little neighborhood, you can find anything and everything, which you can't find in a lot of big cities anymore. But Üsküdar, I think, is unique in that sense. So I think those are...
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Those are the places on the European side. On the Anatolian side, Erkan was talking about Kanlıca. Let's find Kanlıca here. Looking for Kanlıca on the map. You find it. Okay, not that far. This is Beykoz. Let's see if Google can help us.
This is
Kanlıca.
AE. I'm going to maybe stop this and send this section, and then we'll come back. Okay, Elizabeth? So I'm gonna send this section to you now.